Hey, what's going on, Minnesota Viking fans? Welcome to the Purple People Podcast. We got the whole crew here this week. My name's Kyle Smith. I'm joined by Adam Carlson.
How's it going, everyone?
Great. Up in the top right corner, you see Kyle West. What's up, dude? How are you?
Hey, doing pretty good.
Glad to have you back. We all randomly threw messages together today. We're like, hey, we should do a show. So we're going to talk a little bit about OTAs. I didn't even attempt to make a creative show title today. I just kind of wanted to be happy that football is starting back up again. So,
well, this week's news has just been absolutely dominated by that Julio Jones trade possible thing going down. And, well, a lot of people are talking about Minnesota needing another receiver. I don't think they need a Julio Jones maybe at this point. It's fun to dream about. It's fun to think about. But there are a lot of really good wide receivers out there that could make a difference on this team, contribute in their own way. And some that already have that are kind of maybe wanting a little bit of a reunion.
Now, I don't know about this, but when you say we don't need a Julio Jones, I'm thinking we need like a Cole Beasley and call it good. I mean, that's pretty much all you need. He's obviously not the actual guy, but yeah, we don't need a Julio Jones. And I love Julio. I have nothing negative to say about the guy, but he right now with the Vikings 1A and 1B, that's just not really feasible.
Well, today there was some discussion on Twitter going on about Minnesota needing one, and Brandon Bosma, a Minnesota Vikings fan from yesterday, at around this time yesterday, wrote that they need another number 3, maybe someone like Jarius Wright.
Oof. Oh,
and today Jarius Wright responded to that saying, or just bring me back. So it sounds like he's open to coming back if Minnesota wants to bring him back. So I know that's someone that Mr. Smith there, he has really liked. I like him as a third down player. He's been known to make those plays. So to me, although there are some other free agents out there that I find really interesting and really intriguing, I would be absolutely open to Jarius Wright coming back.
Well, let's talk about that. I'll let Kyle jump in and give his stuff too, but who are some of the names that intrigue you? Because I want to know what you guys, who you guys would like to bring in, specifically that wide receiver spot. And I definitely want to know people that are watching who you would like to see come in and compete for that spot.
I've been asking for Dede Westbrook.
Yep.
And that's the one that I felt never got a fair shake in Jacksonville based on the talent there and just the awful quarterbacking and the skill sets that they have to offer. Coming off an injury could be very, very cheap. I think he could thrive under Cousins, and it would be just amazing to watch that unfold. There's no way that you can even compare his skill set with someone like Chad Beebe or even BC Johnson. It's not even close.
Kyle, is there anyone that you've been on the phone with trying to recruit them to Minnesota?
I mean, I'm fine with Jarius Wright coming back. I think that he fills in that kind of that veteran, even though we've got, Adam Thielen and stuff on the team, but, he can help fill in that veteran presence in the locker room because we've got some younger draft picks in there. He can make some plays. He can step in. I'd be fine. I'd like to see Jarius reunite in Minnesota. That'd be a good little story. We like good stories.
I absolutely love that he put out there that he's willing to come back, because I didn't know if that was one of the major factors that was holding back Minnesota reaching out to him or what was happening there. So the fact that this is still a possibility kind of makes me a little bit more excited.
I like that. I'm still a big fan of him or Aldrick Robinson. I think that year he had with Cousins was special, even though it wasn't going to blow anybody in the national media away, any other fan base away. Just seeing a guy step in that randomly came over from another team and had production in kind of the same role. I would prefer Jarius Wright over him, but either or would be great. And let's talk about why. I'm not saying that I hate BC Johnson or Chad Beebe, but I do think those two players specifically we talked about, or Dede Westbrook that Adam's talking about, I do think they are elevated above those players that we currently have at the 4, 5, 6 wide receiver spot.
New Marcus Sherrills, huh? I don't know about that.
Those are big shoes to fill. I miss him too.
Yeah, having somebody reliable on punt returns.
Are they big shoes?
Are
they really?
Let's clarify, because Kyle has a point. Let's not talk about secondary Marcus Sherrills. Let's talk about punt return Marcus Sherrills and special team only. That's it. Let me clarify on that. No, that would be really cool, man. I think that's really the thing that would complete this team, because here's what you've got to look at. And we've said it before, and I hate saying it. I'm going to knock on wood before I say it too. God forbid something happened to Justin Jefferson or Adam Thielen. That's going to suck. I don't even want to talk about Dalvin Cook because the entire team would shut down. But you got to have an emergency plan. And it's one of those guys you wouldn't necessarily want to be a number 2, but it's better than boosting up BC Johnson or Chad Beebe to a number 2. And the guys that I like in preseason never make it, like Tajay Sharp. I don't think he caught a pass last year. So I'm not the
I'm surprised he made the team, to be honest. I thought I was going to be right and that he wasn't going to make the roster, but
yeah, you need to have an emergency plan. That depth is just something that's going to bite the Vikings in the butt if God forbid something happened in that department. We don't need that.
Gotta have a little bit of faith in our young receivers that we drafted. You know, we got the one coming up from Iowa. Like, I understand the need to want to go out and, like, of course it's fun to, Julio Jones coming to Minnesota. Like, I get it. Or Jarius Wright. Reunion special time with Jarius Wright.
Sure.
Like I get it. Like, those are fun stories, but also there is talent on this team. And I mean, you shouldn't completely just shit can OTA BC Johnson or Chad Beebe. I mean, let's let these guys compete here. I don't think there's any. It's only May 26th. Okay, there's no real rush to bring anyone in. Like, right. Jarius Wright's not going anywhere probably. Let's see what happens.
That's such a good point. That's such a good point.
Right.
I don't run this podcast. I was that stray that you guys fed, and God forbid I never left. But I wish we could do this like that. What's that one that Tony Reale hosts, where I could just bump up your points and be like, "Oh, that's such a good point. I love that."
What was the name of it,
man?
The ESPN show? What was the name of that one?
I don't remember. It had the 4 squares. I forget what it was called.
Around the Horn? Was that Around the Horn?
That's it.
Yeah.
And Woody with his great chalkboard in the back. God, that was such a good show.
Man, I need a whiteboard. We need to steal that setup. Now I want a whiteboard.
Yeah, right. Look at all this stuff over here. You just need something random in the back, and that'll be your part for the show. But yeah, I love that point, man. There is no rush. There's no rush for this team to do that. They're gonna have money, and that and we talked about it before on the other shows, but we'll say it until something happens. That and just an extra pass rusher. I'm not sure that any of these brand new guys are going to be the option. I would love to see the Vikings go out and get like a Melvin Ingram on a cheap deal.
Hey, before we get off wide receivers, I wanted to. Did you guys see the little quick clip of Justin Jefferson running into the pool during OTAs? You didn't see that? They're running a drill where they have just like a metal pool set up, in that kind of shape. And he's supposed to run and duck underneath it. And he does. He clips it with his helmet. Clips it with his helmet, and then he staggers forward, and Adam Thielen's laughing at him in the foreground. It's pretty funny. I suggest you look it up if you want to laugh.
Well, that's good that he had a helmet on. Thank God for safety equipment.
Yeah.
Oh man, that's funny. I can't wait to see that now.
It's pretty good. It's pretty funny to watch Adam Thielen react to it in real time at the beginning of the clip.
So getting back though to the defensive end thing. I think we need to have a little talk about that, because I don't think that there's any point in going out and throwing more money at defensive ends unless you're getting a genuine starter. This team has a lot of young, high potential defensive ends. They brought back Weatherly. They've got a lot of up and comers. DJ Wanham's flashed at times. Jalen Holmes penciled in as a starter. He underproduced last year, but could progress a little bit this year and look better. I don't think that there's a lot of need to bring in competition at this point or depth. Unless you are grabbing a starter, I don't see the point in signing anybody.
Well, that's the only reason I bring up a Melvin Ingram type. I know he would start. I think he's definitely an upgrade over Stephen Weatherly, but I totally understand your point. And we're going to have to talk about the Danielle Hunter stuff because this is OTAs. Mm-hmm. Danielle Hunter's a no-show at voluntary OTAs. And there are a lot of really stupid people on the internet that I really want to talk a lot of shit about. So I'm going to do that now. These are voluntary, which I don't know if you guys have a dictionary or like an iPhone, but you can go Google what that means because I'm not going to tell you. He doesn't have to be there, so I'm not really sure what that is. Secondly, to the geniuses, especially on the Facebook page for the Viking Age, I'm going to call them out, and you guys should check that out because Adam works there, and it's a great place. The people underneath there, though, that spew their opinion, Jesus, man, the awful things I want to say about you, but I'm not because we have a show that we want to keep sort of PG. I'm going to save that for later. People saying that he's a spoiled baby and he needs to leave and get a real job. Let me just break it down so I can insult you in a very intelligent way because I really love doing that. Danielle Hunter can do your job. He can go to Goodyear and change a tire. He can work at CVS. Hell, if he's got a degree from LSU, he could probably go out into business sales and do that. You cannot do what Danielle Hunter does. And if for some magical ray of God comes down and gives you that talent, you can't do it better than he can. I promise you can't. You know who can? Maybe 7 other people in the world, and they're on other teams in the NFL. So these people that say he should go and get a real job or, oh, I can't believe he didn't show up to voluntary workouts. The guy is underpaid for what his position is. Now, I know that he signed a contract, and you have to respect that side of it. Sure, I'll entertain that. But people just don't understand how football works. The cap's going to keep going up after these next 2 years. More people are getting more money. Look at Russell Wilson. Look at Aaron Rodgers. I don't know who – Patrick Mahomes just got $500 million. Is he the Patrick Mahomes of the defensive ends? No. But he's underpaid for his value. And am I wrong, guys? Look at the defense last year with no pass rush. I get it. I understand there was no rushing, anybody to stop rushing either. But the pass rush was non-existent last year. And when he's there, it's disruptive. I mean, am I just going over the top here, or do people need to calm down just a little?
No. You're not wrong on any point that you made at all. At least I don't think so. I think it all comes down to whether or not the NFL ownership and a little bit of the media here too need to decide whether or not voluntary means voluntary. Is it voluntary where if you're a veteran player you don't have to show up, or is it voluntary? We've all had jobs.
Military, voluntary.
Voluntary.
It's highly encouraged.
Highly encouraged that you show up. I kind of think we all need to sit down and have a powwow and just decide whether or not this is a story, because I will go back again to saying it is May 26th. I am not too concerned about what Danielle Hunter is doing during voluntary OTAs. I think that this is more for rookies and more for hey,
do you want to make the team?
Maybe your fringe players on the team.
Right.
I don't necessarily know. We don't need Danielle Hunter right now because it's not mandatory. The word mandatory is not involved. When we get to things that are mandatory, if he is still not with the team, then we have cause for concern. Right now, I don't see it as an issue.
No, I ain't worried about it yet.
Yeah.
They have time to iron out these wrinkles, man. And I think that the Vikings ultimately have shown – they've already shown him once. Let's bring that point up too. They've already shown commitment to him early. When people said – you remember a couple years ago when everybody said that was nuts to pay a third-round guy who doesn't even start? And we're like, just wait. You'll see. We knew it because we watched him and knew what he was capable of. But they've already shown a commitment once. Just like with Dalvin Cook last year. You remember last year this time, it was the Dalvin Cook, oh my God, don't pay a running back, blah, blah, blah. That's our guy. That's our offense. Yeah. Everything goes around him. It's the same thing with Danielle Hunter. I don't get it.
I'm going to make an apples to oranges comparison here a little bit because, different players, different situations. But Brett Favre was always very vocal about, I don't need to go to OTAs, training camp. It's like, do you want me to practice or do you want me to play? Now that was 40-year-old beat up Brett Favre.
Right.
Daniil Hunter is a physical freak. He's coming off from, surgery, whatever. He needs to get geared. He needs to get geared up to play. That's not the point that I'm making. But the point that I'm making is that, do you want Daniil Hunter healthy for a playoff push, or do you want him going 110% in voluntary OTAs and risking another injury? He's a veteran. He'll be fine. Don't worry about it. I don't need him practicing. Like Allen Iverson said, we're talking about practice.
I'd love to see him line up next to Michael Pierce and the two of them kind of work on some sort of bond and get to know each other there on the defensive line. I'd like that to happen. But if that's got to wait a little bit down the road here.
We'll get there.
There'll actually be a preseason this year. It's 3 games, but it'll happen. Yeah. There will be opportunities for these offensive and defensive lines to mesh in places other than virtual meeting rooms like last year. Last year, that was something that didn't get to happen. And we saw it on the football field. There was sloppy football the first several weeks. And the Vikings looked extremely sloppy the first few weeks.
Minnesota was one of the teams in particular that virtual offseason really hurt. But like you said, this year there's proper training camp. There's proper preseason games. There's all that.
And I believe the Vikings were one of the teams that already received the green light to have 100%
correct
fans in the stadiums. So
the only that alone, I believe, are Indianapolis and another team. 30 out of 32 teams are full go this year. So they're probably
going to make a huge difference. I still can't believe 100% going back and looking at the Vikings, how they performed at home last year compared to any other game at US Bank Stadium. And that crowd, you guys in the crowd, the fact that that much of a difference can be made in getting that team riled up, creating a false start or two to change the momentum, just getting energy flowing through the roster. That much of a difference was made? That much?
I mean, you noticed it the first couple of home games. It was dead. The way the Packers rolled in there, like they owned it in week 1, it was tough. I think just going back to last year, I think it's just compounded everything too. The way that they missed key players like Daniil Hunter, and you had to fill in a bunch of rookies who didn't have I'm not saying that training camp and OTAs and all that lengthy stuff they've had before in person would have made enough of a difference for them to maybe win get into the playoffs, possibly win another game or so. There were some close games, but God, was it everything compiled and compounded onto each other. And oh my God, this happened too. Murphy's Law happened to this team last year in more than one way. So I'm glad that they're going to have that this year. I'm super glad the fans are going to be there. I'm going to be at a couple of games, and that place is going to be noisy and rowdy, and it's going to be hard for the other team coming in. I'm excited for that.
I think preseason is more important than what people want to give credit for. I'm talking about fans here in general. But I think there's just something to be said for getting your rookies in pads and out there. They can go full speed. You can hit someone. You can hit another player from another team. Getting that experience, getting those reps are important. It's important for the young guys. I like some of the changes that they're making towards preseason. We've eliminated overtime. Thank heavens no one wanted overtime in the preseason. We got rid of that. They've chopped out what did you say? We're down to 3 games this year?
Yep.
That's good stuff.
So does that mean that the dress rehearsal game will be week 2, and then week 3 we'll see a lot of the...
See, that's what I was talking about with my friends last week. I think that's how it's got to be.
Yeah.
It's got to be it, right? I mean, you're risking injury for the start of the season.
I would need to look up the dates that were just announced on when they're doing roster cut down, because I know they're back to having the 3 different roster cut down dates where you can bring in... You bring in 90, and then you cut it clear down to the 54. It'd be interesting to see how that lines up with.
Yeah, they brought back the 70-something step, right?
Yes. Yep.
Because last year that was a bit of a scramble with teams dropping players and signing players. Last year was a bit of a scramble and a frenzy with everything. So who knows what's going to happen this year? Now they're able to stagger things out and do things right.
Well, I've had this question up for a couple minutes. Let's talk about this. What's more likely? John Young is asking: Aaron Rodgers not playing for the Packers or Danielle Hunter not playing for the Vikes this year? I think both are going to happen. I think the one that's more likely not to happen is Rodgers not playing for Green Bay. He came out with a very cryptic, I said a lot of words, but nothing was actually deciphered out of them interview a couple of nights ago. I don't think that he doesn't like his teammates. I like him as a person. I think he's very cool. I think he knows his value. But I know for a fact he does not like the upper echelon of management for Green Bay. And they haven't done him a lot of favors as far as getting him involved. Now, we can break that down in opinions of should quarterbacks have basically more value to their rank if I'm looking at it from like a military point of view. Whatever. We can have our discussion and opinions on that. But I don't think that Danielle Hunter is not going to play for the Vikings. I think they're going to take care of him. I think they're going to give him an extension or maybe more per year, whatever it has to come down to, all that financial jargon. But Rodgers not playing for the Packers seems pretty likely. They've signed 2 or 3 veteran quarterbacks too, just in case. I know Blake Bortles got signed. So I think they should just send him off and get as much as you can for a 37-year-old quarterback. It's going to hurt them. I think that makes them hugely average if he leaves, but you could get a haul for him, and that could help your franchise for later because they're not a bad team, and that coach is really good. But
Julio Jones, Deshaun Watson, those are 2 guys who won't be playing this year in their current team's jerseys. I don't see either one of them doing their thing, and that makes Houston a team that's not scary in the least.
They're so bad. They're so bad. And they didn't have any first-round picks either. God, what a trash can that franchise is.
I still think there's a chance Aaron Rodgers plays for Green Bay, and I think it's I'm personally going to say it's a bigger chance than what a lot of the mainstream media is saying right now, because there's like 2 things Green Bay can do. One of them is you give anyone enough money for a contract extension for Aaron Rodgers, and suddenly it's okay. I mean,
well, from what I understand, they've already approached him with a deal.
Yep, and he said no.
Keep going up with that guaranteed. Keep going up with the guaranteed portion of it. And they can smooth it over.
I don't know if he said this verbatim, but I know in that interview on ESPN the other night, some says he really so disservice by getting MVP, because if he played like crap, he could have got out of it. Some other team would have taken a chance. They'd be like, I'll take the ghost of Aaron Rodgers pass. I'll give him a chance. But him getting that MVP didn't do favors of, I don't want to say the trade value. And I know that sounds weird because you're like, well, he's the most valuable player, but he's under contract right now. And that's the biggest X factor. If they don't want to, and they just say, hey, you're not playing, we're not trading you. So get over it, play or don't play. You're playing in our uniform or nobody's. They can definitely hardball that way, but they're not. I'm telling you right now, if it's Jordan Love or Blake Bortles running that team, that's an 8-9 team right there if I've ever seen one.
I mean, it'd be a bold move for Green Bay to trade for Julio Jones because they don't do splash kind of things like that too. But if they wanted to keep Aaron Rodgers in Green Bay, I mean, you make a play for Julio Jones. As a Vikings fan, I'm thinking like, what would help us in the division? I actually don't know. I would almost rather Aaron Rodgers stay in Green Bay instead of them getting just a whole shitload of players and picks from some other team for him and potentially setting that franchise up for another excellent draft class for the next couple seasons.
Yep.
Where they beat the shit out of us again for years and years and years because they got this whole haul out of Aaron Rodgers. It's like I almost feel like we're screwed in either situation.
I'm going to say the opposite of that. I want them to do it because if you're stupid enough to take Jordan Love in the first round, you can go ahead and fuck up all those first-round picks just like that later. He is not a starting quarterback in the NFL. He wasn't even dressed for games last year. That's supposed to be your backup. That's a first-round quarterback at a minimum is supposed to be your backup. So I'm not I know what you're saying, and I agree with some of it. But if they're going to make dumb picks like that, be my guess. Oh my God, yes. Be my guess.
But you forget that we're cursed and snake bitten as Vikings fans.
You're right.
Of course they're going to trade Aaron Rodgers, and who the fuck is the quarterback underneath him? Jordan
Love and Blake
Love is going to be MVP, Patrick Mahomes, and we're all going to be sitting here saying, "God damn it, it happened again."
They didn't roll the dice on those picks and just get absolute superstars.
Yeah,
they could.
Yep.
What's up, Derek? Thanks for joining us. I wanted to keep your comment up there. I don't want to get off of that subject. Adam, if you got anything you want to add for the Aaron Rodgers stuff, by all means, jump in.
I don't have much to add in that category. To me, it's a point to where his age is getting to be an issue, and the fact that he's coming off an MVP kind of counteracts that. But it's like you said, without Aaron Rodgers, this team just isn't that scary to me. Not even close.
I super want to face a Blake Bortles-led Green Bay Packers twice a season.
I mean, to your point too, Kyle, we ran into Green Bay and literally ran all over them last year. The only reason they were even a part of that, and the reason they won in Minnesota, was he can find Devontae Adams anywhere. I don't know that many people can make those throws, and I know specifically Blake Bortles and Jordan Love cannot. So he makes the team. I'm not saying that they haven't hit on some draft picks, and I kind of think it's cool that they try to build from within and do this like farm kind of deal where it's like we make players. You know what I mean? But I'm going to be real pissed if they go get Julio Jones and he stays. I'm going to be really fucking mad about that. I'm just going to throw that. I'm going to come on here and swear a lot and be like, son of a bitch, man. Can we have 1 year? Because the last time the Vikings won the division, it was because Aaron Rodgers was out. Don't forget that.
So did Green Bay, do you think they took that corner in the first round because he was the best available player? Or did they take they needed a corner for one thing because their corners were getting burned. But do you think they specifically went out and got that corner in the first round to send a message to Aaron Rodgers?
No.
I don't think they did. I'll be honest with you, Adam.
Or do you think they just stuck to their board?
I think they just stuck to their board. They don't give a shit what he thinks because they're like, we're management, you're a player. You're below us. We pick players out of the draft. Don't worry about it. I think that's how they feel. And I heard that on Colin Cowherd the other day. What's more likely for them as a franchise for decades and decades to be like, we build within the draft. We don't get a lot of free agents, blah, blah, blah. And then they just suddenly say, hey, you know what? This 37-year-old quarterback wants us to include him a lot. We should change our policy and our tradition here. Hell no, they're not going to change that.
No.
Not at all. I don't think they thought about him one bit when and it's not because they don't like him. They love him as a quarterback, but they were like, yeah, we're going to do our job and you can stay out of our way.
Isn't it weird we have this situation going on in Green Bay, and then conversely, we've got almost the exact opposite happening in Chicago, where they guaranteed a starting job to the Red Rocket, and now the Red Rocket's sitting there like,
The Red Rocket maybe guaranteed for week 1. John Fields will start before week. You can mark that down for sure. 100%.
I mean, Andy Dalton's been there for a cup of coffee in Chicago, and Chicago still called him and was like, hey, heads up, we're drafting a quarterback. I mean, I understand Aaron Rodgers' point of view. It would be insane if they drafted a corner just to fuck with Rodgers. I mean,
because to your point, Kyle, they can't be that ignorant to know that like he's one of the best quarterbacks to ever play in the NFL, and it's not like the Favre situation where it's like, well, last year this or like let's say Drew Brees more than the Favre because Favre completely fell off in a year. Drew Brees has been on the slow decline, for the last couple seasons. It's not like Drew Brees. The dude's the MVP of the league. What did he throw for like 50 touchdowns last year?
Right. Well, with Favre, there was the will he, won't he retire. Green Bay needed to get out from underneath that situation. They needed to have a path forward. It made sense, even though, I mean, for the first half of the season that he played with the Jets before he got injured, Favre was doing pretty good with them. And then we seen what he did in 2009 with the Vikings when he was healthy. So Favre still had a couple seasons with him, but ultimately it was the right decision to move on and to go with Aaron Rodgers.
Yeah.
It's different this time because Rodgers is coming off that MVP season. other than him jokingly saying, "Yeah, I'd like to continue on and do the host of Jeopardy thing." Like, I don't think he actually meant like, I'm gonna fucking quit right now and go be the host of Jeopardy. Like, he was just talking like, hey, that would be a fun thing I would like to do one day. There's no chance of him not playing. I really don't understand why they haven't done the Tom Brady thing and just thrown as many pieces and parts around him as possible.
He's got a great point, an argument in there too. We know you're not Tom Brady, but you are one of the best to ever do it. Why you won't give? And he's not asking to be the general manager there. He's just saying, hey, dude, I've asked you for like a decade to go get a wide receiver.
But why wouldn't you? We sound like ESPN. How can we fit LeBron James into this conversation? Why wouldn't you do the thing where when you have a quarterback like a Aaron Rodgers, Tom Brady, Peyton Manning, why wouldn't you do the thing where you're like, hey, what direction do you want the team to go? Because you're the captain of the ship when you're out there on the field, Peyton Manning or Tom Brady.
I'm with it.
What can we do to help you succeed?
Look at that guy, Patrick Mahomes. The dude can throw the ball 80 yards standing still, and they're like, we're going to get you speed, and more speed. And, oh, by the way, we're completely going to redo the offensive line. I understand he's only like, 25? But the point to what you're saying, like Tom Brady, yes, he's the GOAT. Yes, he does whatever he wants. But they're like, oh, you need 7 weapons on the offense? Okay, we'll figure it out.
You need old ass Rob Gronkowski? Okay, sure. Oh,
they just signed Antonio Brown for like nothing.
Yeah,
you don't need Antonio Brown. Yeah, Chris Godwin and Mike Evans, Gronk are like, fuck it, we'll get AB too. And Green Bay's it's like, I don't think we can trade for this person because we don't trade. It's like they don't know how trades work. But anyways, we'll get off of that. I just thought it was funny. This is cool. So Julio Jones to the Raiders, that would be fun. I thought about it the other day. I would like to see, and I don't want it because I don't want to see Diggs win a Super Bowl outside of Minnesota, but him going to Buffalo makes sense to me. Him going to the Tennessee Titans right down the road makes sense to me. Ooh. The Raiders make sense. New England needs a receiver, and they've been going nuts all offseason. I could see him going up there. Most of those are AFC teams, too. That's what the Falcons want to do. That would be fun, though. Julio Jones is a Hall of Famer for sure. He's a badass receiver. I think
Julio Jones and Stephon Diggs.
I mean, and they got Cole Beasley in the slot, too. God, that would be nasty if he went to Buffalo.
That's a dangerous combination. Who do they got at running back? Reggie Bush? Oh, no, wait. That was a couple seasons ago.
That was a while back. I'm trying to think. Singletary, Devin Singletary. They don't have a really feature back there, but he's all right. I mean, he's manageable. I
think they drafted someone this year as well.
I know they got an edge first round. I'll see what their running back situation is. Fire Breather's back. What's up, dude? Thanks for joining us again.
It's always good to have a good chat going. Thank you guys for joining us over there. Every time we go live and you guys hop in to join the conversation, make some comments, ask some questions, it's always a great time. And that's why having you guys here, that's why we switched to this live format. And it's been so great ever since. So thanks again to everyone who showed up and is commenting and even just saying hello. It's wonderful.
I want to talk about that too. Nick's comment up here, because I've seen that on social media too. They interviewed Irv, him and Gronklin, as we call him here. By the way, totally not football related, but those dudes are tattoo goals. Have you seen Tyler Conklin? That dude looks like a biker, and I love it, and I'm jealous, and I have a man crush on you. Irv, you're cool too. You got a lot of cool tattoos, but
I miss David Morgan. I do miss David Morgan because I liked his look and thought he was a fun guy and everything. But I call him Conky. I know that you guys call him Gronklin, but I'll keep calling him Conky. Conky's got a good look too.
Adam, didn't we have a tight end that we used to joke looked like a fan? Looked like they just plucked a fan out of the stands. Who the hell was that?
Yeah, you bought his jersey.
Mobo?
No, it was. I swear that was someone else. I don't remember.
God, that's funny. We'll dig deep.
Blake Bell or someone maybe.
The Belldozer.
The Belldozer. I remember him. Man, that's funny.
crazy going back over all the years of all the players we've talked about.
And we'll use the middle of the field more. I mean, we could do that. I think if you bring 2 tight ends out, somebody's blocking for Cook. I don't know that the Vikings necessarily need to do that because you're going to take away – every time you do that, you take away the chance of Thielen and Jefferson getting the ball for more pass catchers. Not that Kirk's going to go there immediately, but it's not a bad look. I like Kirk Cousins doing short to intermediate throws. I don't mind that at all.
Irv Smith's a better blocker than I think a lot of people give him credit for, too, so – you could use him out there in situations and even surprise some people by running the ball with him out there. So I think that is something that Minnesota could be able to do effectively.
It's addition by subtraction for the Vikings tight end group. We love Kyle Rudolph. Great Viking, great history with the team. But I think that they are poised to really take a step forward as a group without him on the field taking snaps, which hurts to say because he did so many good things for the Vikings over the years. But they definitely got a lot younger and a lot more dynamic at that position.
Did you see those facts and figures last year that the Vikings were the least bulky of the NFL teams out there?
I did.
Weighing the least, and honestly, the way that their lines are thrown around, I believe it.
Part of the reason why I think Zimmer put that mandate out that he wanted to get bigger on the offensive line, and they definitely did with in the draft this year.
Oh yeah, they went out there and they got some big fellas, and I'm glad they did go get some big fellas because they needed them. Especially with this year, we're going to get Michael Pierce back, and then we got Delvin Tomlinson. Those 2 men alone in the middle of that defensive line had some real good beef.
Yeah,
I love that so much that the Vikings they're gonna look completely different than last year, and we've said it many times leading up with all these additions and veteran presence. It's going to be night and day different from last year, and we're not here telling you they're going to be a top 5 defense. I don't think they'll do that. Would I be surprised if they crept in at 9 or 10? Oh, I wouldn't be surprised at all. But they were 30th overall, I think, last year, like 28th. They were pretty bad, especially in stopping the run. But I think this defense is going to be much improved. I
don't know if this will come as a shock to people, but I am friends with Kyle Smith on Facebook. So every once in a while, I can see what he writes on some other posts. And I saw him make a comment on a post that said the Vikings were going to have was it 14th or 15th best offense in the NFL?
No, what they did was somebody picked based on projections last year was about offense, and I think the Vikings are under the 15th best offense. And I was like, well, that's weird because they were 4th last year in points per game, and the total offense they were like 11th. And I'm not sure how they would drop off so badly and be a middle of the pack offense. Nobody's left. It's kind of my point there.
Kyle Rudolph leaves, but yet they improve the offensive line. I get the little bit of the question mark between Riley Reif and Darisaw. I get that. It's a little bit of an unknown. But otherwise, I don't see a whole lot of reason to believe that this Vikings offense is going to take any step backwards.
I don't see so either.
I'm not. You know what? And they're gonna go forward with the Kubiak kind of way in that zone running scheme deal. Lots of play action, run the ball, but they've been doing this for a while. They're just gonna have to get a little more creative. Just because teams could have a little more film on it. I mean, this isn't the first and only team to do this in the NFL. When you have a healthy Cook, Jefferson's coming into his 2nd year. He's only going to get better, and Thielen's still in his prime. I don't understand that really. And that's kind of my point for that. Fire Breather, you joined us a little bit late. Nobody is freaking out because OTAs are not mandatory. And not anybody on the show anyways. I destroyed some people in the comments section about freaking out about that because they're not mandatory. He doesn't need to be there. And he's probably, in my opinion, just wrapping it up when we said earlier, I think he's going to get paid. I think the Vikings are going to figure that out because they need him. They need him very badly. Mm-hmm. He's a great defensive end.
What's happening when I'm appearing and reappearing on the video is that I'm running a virtual camera that's eliminating the background behind me. And what it's doing is when Bernie's sitting in front of me, Bernie Cat, the camera will grab Bernie Cat and it thinks he's at the front. so it doesn't know whether I'm fifth to be focused on or whether I'm background. So it'll like flicker back and forth. Because
you're also John Cena.
I got the Parks and Rec background there, but
thank you.
For now, it's doing all right.
To answer your other question here, who will be the third linebacker? I'm going to let these guys answer that because I have no idea. I can tell you one thing. It's not going to be Chad Surratt. That would be a guarantee on my end, and it's not because I don't like him, but he is a very new linebacker. He was a quarterback for North Carolina not even, 4 years ago? So he's new to that position. So I can tell you he's not going to be the third linebacker, but I don't know. What's his name? Nick Vigil, maybe? Hardy Nickerson, is that who we had? Is he still on the team?
Yeah, maybe Troy Dye.
Troy Dye. We'll see. That's why they have mini camps and OTAs. Yeah.
But let's be honest here, this third linebacker spot, it'd be great to have a name to pencil in there and write in there and to be able to have on the field. But Minnesota's going to do what Minnesota has done in the past. That third linebacker is not even going to be on the field for half the plays that are run defensively. It's going to be a lot of nickel with a bigger corner. Mackenzie Alexander is probably going to be on the field quite a bit more than any linebacker. So, yeah, I mean, we're going to see that third linebacker in base defense. They might not even start, to be honest. And that's another reason that moving on from Anthony Barr next year might be a little scarier than thought, because Barr has played a little bit bigger role as far as that middle layer of the defense, and a lot of fans really understand since Minnesota plays so much nickel.
Did you see Anthony Barr coming out talking a little nostalgic for playing in Minnesota? Because, he took a pay cut. And he talked about how he didn't want his last time in Minnesota to be getting injured on the field, that it wasn't really a question for him when presented on taking a pay cut. He was like, yeah, I'll take a pay cut and I'll come back with the team. So it sounds like whether the team moves on or whether Anthony Barr moves on, this might be kind of final season for him in Minnesota. We'll see what happens.
I think it'll all depend on how much the salary cap ends up being, how much it bounces back after this year that just kind of hurt them with the bad salaries that came through with COVID and everything, not having fans in stands, and merchandise sales because fans don't want to buy merchandise for the NFL. The people boycotting, if that's actually still happening, I don't know.
We just got to sign a Tim Tebow to boost our jersey sales in Minnesota. We'll just bring Randy Moss out of retirement for 3 preseason games and not actually have him do anything, but sell some Randy Moss jerseys.
I'd rather you just sign Percy Harvin to the team and just say you get a guaranteed spot. Figure it out.
Oh God, I would actually love that.
I know you would. I would just for old time's sake. Is Sidney Rice capable? Is he still alive? Can we?
Sidney Rice doesn't have a functional ACL between both legs.
And every Minnesota Vikings offensive lineman that leaves Minnesota, they lose their lineman body within a year, and they would not be ready to come back. So
yeah,
it's strange how you can't recognize those guys anymore.
Chad Greenway immediately after he retired was like half the size
skinny.
of
so skinny.
Yeah.
Joe Thomas looks like a UFC fighter now.
I know it.
This ogre gargantuan human, and he looks like he's just out here trimming to cut weight for like light heavyweight now. It's crazy.
Oh,
that's so funny.
Man, I miss Chad Greenway. He was a lot of fun. Yeah.
I miss Brian Robinson. I really hope that they would bring him back because I'm not a fan of the Ben Lieber media types for the team, just because they're kind of homers. And when they do say stuff that isn't homerish, I say dumb shit like Justin Jefferson wouldn't have had the season he had without Kirk Cousins. It's like, okay, all right, bud.
He would have.
Whatever you got to tell yourself.
I'm not 100% sure that he would have, but I mean, there's not a lot of quarterbacks that can play the way Kirk Cousins does to lead receivers and be patient in the pocket and have the experience to deliver the ball where it needs to be and has the arm to get it where it needs to be on deep passes. Kirk Cousins is disrespected a lot, but I don't like the premise of saying this player wouldn't be this player without that player. It's just sloppy to me.
That to me is
I like that it says something. I like that it says something. I mean, Paul Allen is a good announcer. I love the play-by-play. But if you watch his shows or listen to him on the radio, it's a lot of homer positivity, which is cool. Build up the team. You should do that.
Yeah.
You should be there to get some excitement about the team. But he lacks a lot of that critical nature that makes shows a little bit more compelling. And maybe there's some sort of clauses in his contract that make it to where he has to stay a little bit more on the positive side, but it's just, it seems disingenuous at times.
Absolutely.
I read a stat.
I don't like when people make the Vikings out to be like a children's book. Like, you can talk to us like we're adults, man.
Yeah.
And also, like, you guys have been fans of this team longer than I have. People are bitter because there hasn't been a Super Bowl yet. When you say stupid shit for clicks, like, I don't see a loss on this thing. Like, cool, now we're going to go 6-10 because you're an idiot and you can't be real for 2 minutes. Hey, call it out. I don't know. That's going to be a tough game. You don't even have to say we're going to lose. Be like, oh, we're going to Seattle for the 5th year in a row. Well, we know how that ends. That's all you got to say.
I mean, we love Paul Allen, and I'm not calling us experts by any means. We're all dipshits. Well, Adam's more of an expert. Adam writes for the Vikings Age, but Kyle Smith and I, we're both dipshits up here up top. But Paul Allen does, you betcha, he does fill the role for the ultra-casual fan who might not know anything about the Vikings. And so I do get the very positive kind of company spin that he has to put on things in that regard, and that's okay too.
It's weird watching, like, even the mailbag. Not just his radio show. I mean,
right?
Like the video mailbag on YouTube, because you're not going to get a lot of criticism. You're not going to get it.
I remember when Christian Ponder was playing like shit, and everyone knew he's playing like shit, and he's not going to be on this team for very much longer. And yeah, you'd listen to Paul Allen and like the mailbag segments or whatever talk about, well, and Ponder just needs to take another step forward and do this and do that. It's like,
and that rubbed off on me, and I was buying into that. And the fact that I was buying into that, it made me seem foolish at times, and I didn't like that.
I'm glad I'm not the only one. I definitely bought into those hopeful. We're always going to be optimistic with this team because we want to see them succeed so badly.
It's interesting too, and I will freely admit, I have been following some of the Jaguars' social media because of Tim Tebow, because I think that that's interesting to just watch what's going on down there. So it's interesting to go to their Facebook page and look at the content that their social media team is putting out, because they're doing these cool, it's almost like little mini Hard Knocks documentaries where they're like 15-minute like shorts where they're talking about OTAs and they're interviewing players and doing all this stuff. And then you look at some of the stuff that the Vikings are putting out, and the Vikings stuff in contrast feels very, you'll know what I'm talking about, Adam, very Midwest, very sort of, we can't say anything bad about the team, positive sort of little 3-minute fluff piece that don't mean anything. It's interesting,
book, man.
It's because of where we are.
I will admit, I enjoyed that video of them asking a lot of the new players trivia about Minnesota. I did enjoy that.
I mean, that's fun too, but it's just, it's the Iowa Minnesota nice thing, and that
so
spills
Smith,
over to
what is
Paul
the capital
Allen.
of Minnesota?
What is the capital of Minnesota? St. Paul? Question mark.
There you go.
Man, I'm glad I didn't mess that up. I'd have to get off for the episode.
I actually would have said Minneapolis.
Oh, no shit, really.
I think half the rookies did.
You know what? Going back to the point of the social media stuff, though, I'm dodging any more questions at this point. Bring back 96 questions, man. That was so much fun. He doesn't have to.
What is B-Rob doing?
He's fishing all the time. He's not doing anything.
And we mentioned that he talked about that on his social media, bringing that back as a virtual web thing, and I think people would love to see it.
You know, and there's other ideas you can do as a spinoff there too. If 1 week he can't make it, give it to somebody everybody loves. I'd love to see Justin Jefferson going around messing with people and asking questions. I'd love to see goofy Stephen Weatherly going around and asking questions and be like, "Oh, check it out! I wore my B-Rob jersey today." Like, what? Do that and put it back. But I understand that you have to fill these little after-school special kind of things. Like that's just what it is. But I
thought it was neat when like Weatherly and some of the other guys were doing the work with Minnesota Rocker, their video game, team companies, and I thought that was really pretty cool. Seeing some of the Vikings players taking to social media and doing stuff with the video game stuff. So yeah, I like knowing a little bit more about these players outside of what they're doing on the field and learning a little bit more about that, because it's fans can get caught up in thinking about football players as thinking that they're not human beings when they are.
Yeah, that whole macho kind of thing too. A lot of these guys just like to lay back and chill. Like they have very much a flip switch where it's like, hey,
which Vikings player is it that's on that Netflix show about glass blowing?
Oh, he's not with the team anymore. It wasn't Stephen Weatherly. What's the other guy? Odenigbo.
Yeah.
Odenigbo was on there. I saw that on his social media all the time. That's so cool.
And that was really cool, too.
I think that was why a lot of fans early on, before he went insane being a social justice warrior, Chris Kluwe was very relatable because he was just a gamer and he played World of Warcraft. And
it made so much sense, too, since he was a punter.
I know. But it's like that was...
I love that. That's a perfect form of stereotyping right there. God, thank you for bringing him up.
That was entertaining, and that made him relatable and fun. And then he went at that shit insane. But, that's...
I mean, you're not wrong. That's so funny.
No. Have you ever heard Pat McAfee shit on Jeff Locke?
Oh, no.
Yeah. Because Jeff Locke was the punter that the Colts brought in to replace Pat McAfee, and anytime he not replace, because he left on his own accord.
Yeah, like he was
the guy that they brought in afterwards. And anytime Pat brings that up, he just shits all over him. He just calls him that guy. That guy they tried to bring in.
Man, it's. That situation right there is going to be a weird one for Minnesota. All three of those special team spots. Because not only do they have a kicker they brought in that hasn't kicked for Minnesota, but now they have an undrafted free agent to compete with that guy who's never kicked for Minnesota. And they have competition for all three spots. And
I hate that.
I just... You'd think that after so long, you'd figure this out to where they could have a consistent unit that was doing things on a regular basis. You could throw a little bit of money at them each year and know that you got some quality players that aren't going to make a ton of mistakes. But every year we seem to be in this situation where we have no idea what's going to happen. And
the Vikings was awesome.
Man,
it was awesome when we would do like our schedule. We're going to predict the 53-man roster. And when we would get to special teams, we would just completely gloss it over because we'd say Ryan Longwell, Chris Kluwe, and Colin Loeffler.
Yeah. Oh my God.
Kicker, punter, long snapper.
Okay, I missed that a lot.
We're good. Yeah.
Isn't that crazy though? Because this team has its kicking woes throughout history, especially in the last 20 years. But think about how much in the NFL kicking has just not been consistent as it used to be. Isn't that weird? Because we haven't nailed down the reasoning as to why, other than people are just like, well, kicking a ball is kind of hard. Well, no shit. We know that. But there used to be at least 30 guys in the world who are like, yeah, we can do this pretty good.
I mean, I don't understand it's still a difficult thing to do, and the NFL just seems they want to muck around with like maybe we'll make the goalposts narrower. Like why would you what we all already hate field goal kickers.
They're trying to get rid of it. That's why. I can't understand that. Also, another rant. How do you have guys that suck so bad at kicking, but that guy destroying on the internet is kicking 80-yard field goals and making them, and you can't at least bring him in for a tryout? I will never understand. Or that punter, Marquise King or Marquise King,
Marquette
maybe?
King.
He was a baller-ass punter, but because he has a couple of words to say and walks around crazy like he can't be in the NFL. I can't. I'm going to say something really stupid now, but I don't care. I can't wait in 30 years when all these old ass white dudes die, and all this culture passes by, and they're like, "Oh my God, a punter said something. I forgot that doesn't affect anything that we do. Come on in. Oh, you can make 70-yard field goals. Here's a tryout. Be here next week. Plane picks you up at Monday. Who cares?
Destroying.
I don't understand that.
I mean."
He's an athlete, bro. He's so good. And I'm not saying that he has to – you have to guarantee him a spot and he has to have a guaranteed deal. But to not give him a chance? This isn't even like social justice, BLM, anti-police stuff. This is just strictly like, well, I don't want to bring this kid in because he's on social media. What? He's out here showing you that he's pressing today.
He went up to Canada, and I mean, he had a little bit of an opportunity in Canada. It didn't work out for one reason or another up there. Of course, it's a little bit different of a game when you go up north. I like you said, I legitimately don't know what possible harm it would have to be like, hey, competition, come on in. Teams always carry extra kickers. This time,
and then the Vikings go around and draft one in the 5th round, and it didn't work out. They give up a 5th-round pick for one that doesn't even play in a game for them. And I'm not saying that I don't like this management here. I think Rick Spielman overall does a better job than he doesn't, but there are options. Sometimes, just a hint here, sometimes the ignorant couch fan has a point. I'm not saying we're right. I'm not even saying that we should get hired for that, but I don't get it because it's not like you guys said. How long has it been? Maybe that couple of years we had Kai Forbath, but like after the Dan Bailey situation, you're just like, kicking PTSD. Oh my God. I'm just seeing like I'm gonna go to bed and rock myself to sleep with a pillow and being like, Blair Walsh, Anderson, NFC Championship, Dan Bailey, and I'm like, why? I don't get it. I don't understand it.
NFL coaches will stop ranting here in a minute. This is just Kyle Smith and I just ranting about shit at this point.
I'll step out on this one because that destroying guy, he was not very impressive when he got his opportunity, and I think that's why he didn't get another shot. But
I think with him it's consistency. I couldn't kick an 80-yard field goal to save my life. He can do it and put it as a clip on YouTube.
Sure.
But you just don't know whether or not he can do it consistently. But the thing about the NFL that I've always hated is like Mike Glennon is fucking worthless as a quarterback. And how many opportunities did Mike Glennon get? For all I know, he's still out there somewhere being fucking worthless in the league.
We played him against Jacksonville last year, and he almost beat us.
Yeah, but I don't care. He's worthless. You can't tell me there's not. You can't tell me there's not some other guy that deserves a roster spot more than him. That's the same thing for like, can't you bring in some other kicker instead of retreading? Someone's going to trot Dan Bailey out. Why?
Yeah, 100%.
Why?
Because he'll go on and not miss a field goal the entire season for them.
Yeah.
God hates the Vikings. You guys not know that?
Does Nathan Peterman still in the league, right?
Yeah, I think he's with Oakland. John Gruden loves him.
Good. Because he deserves more shots.
I'm gonna look right now. Yep. American football quarterback for the Las Vegas Raiders. Of course, John Gruden has him over there. That's the most Gruden-y thing I've ever heard of.
He's a grinder. Nathan Peterman.
God.
I love the Raiders at the draft. I love it. Because you've got Rick Spielman over there like maneuvering and sliding around with his picks, getting these top prospects to slide down to him and gaining picks. And then you got John Gruden like, I'll take this third round in the first because I really want him.
You can't miss out on a draft pick if you overdraft him by 60 positions. Oh God, they're so bad. And you know what's crazy? But we're just this is just totally a lounge hour here on the Purple People Pod tonight. But it's crazy because I respected the crap out of Mike Mayock's analysis and scouting. I was like, oh my God, he's going to go in there and straighten Gruden out. Because they gave basically what happened in Oakland is Al Davis and his terrible bowl haircut go, here's $100 million. Here's your cowboy outfit. You're the sheriff. Goodbye. And John Gruden's like, oh my God, I get a pistol? This is sweet. And then you're like, well, maybe we should do some damage control and get a guy in here. But he's a part of this too. I don't get that. Dude, stop trying to outsmart football. Don't take a guy who overall is ranked like 65th, 18th. I mean, come on, dude.
Oh. I have heard, and I think we've brought this up before, but I have heard that John Gruden will be absolutely in love with a player, free agent, draft pick, whatever. Gotta have this guy. He'll get him on the team. He'll spend like one practice with him and then be like, get him the hell out. I don't want him anymore. That's how quick. Seriously, that is how quick he will like fall in love with and turn on players. I don't know how
you can coach I've ever heard in my life.
I don't know how you can have any consistency.
I have a buddy that used to date girls that way, so I've seen it.
Well, here's the thing too. Look back at the famous coaches who were with a quarterback they won stuff with. Like look at Mike Holmgren and Brett Favre. That dude will never say anything negative about Brett Favre, right? Never. I can't say it now because they're going to play each other this year, but I'm sure Bill Belichick and Tom Brady 20 years down the road will be like, that's my guy. You know, we did it all together. We were the best.
Oh, yeah.
There are
podcasts together.
Oh, yeah. They'll go out and make some company together and make another $100 million together.
Right.
That would be great if they did like a trolling thing where they like made video cameras so you could tape stuff. Or like air pump for footballs. God, that would be awesome. But my point is, there are people out there that like stick by their guy. I mean, look at what's his name, Kyle Shanahan for the Niners. He still talks good about Kirk Cousins, and Kirk Cousins is all right. He's not going to blow you. He's not Russell Wilson, but he's okay. And they're like, that dude is awesome.
He's not going to blow you because he's like a Mormon, Smith.
Yeah, well, that's true. That's so true. He is the nicest, whitest dude ever. But he's, like they stick with those guys and it's average, and it's like, okay, it didn't work out, but I know him, I like him, whatever. And you talk about John Gruden, it's just like, well, I don't like you anymore. And it's like, these guys like each other for like 30 years.
Yeah.
You haven't even tried to make him better. That's like, isn't that your job? No. I find that very funny, but that whole Raider situation, they're consistent though. At least once every year, they're going to overdraft the shit out of somebody, and you can guarantee it's awesome because it's like if you pick after them, a good player is going to be available.
You gotta commend them. You have to commend them for being like, we like this guy. We think he's got a first-round talent. It doesn't matter whether or not everyone else thinks it's a third-round talent. We think it's a first-round talent. We are taking him in the first round. I don't give a shit. They're going after their guys.
Also, well, that made me think of we were thinking about today, Kyle. We can do that and maybe cut this episode off because we haven't really talked about Vikings football in a while.
Who the hell listens to this terrible show an hour and 3 minutes in at this point?
So I like the guy because I like that he sticks by his guns, even though most of the stuff he says a lot of my friends don't like. But Chris Sims was a quarterback for the NFL. He even played in a playoff game, but I can't say much because Tim Tebow did too. And no offense, I know you like Tim Tebow, but I don't think he was necessarily the greatest quarterback ever. But he was fun. But my point being there is he does his top 40 quarterbacks every year, and it started in 2017 when he absolutely poo-pooed all over Blake Bortles and said, "I know you're a starting quarterback in the NFL, but there are 40 other guys that are better than you." Kind of was right. But he's putting rookies in at spots. He has Kellen Mond, I think, at 37, which I thought was funny. I find I would really want to hear what Adam has to say about this because I don't understand it. And instead of ranting and like destroying it, I'm just going to try to intelligently break it down. But he says Justin Fields is at 39, I think, and Trey Lance was at 38. He's like, well, the reason Trey Lance is not higher is because, you know, you're a first-round draft pick, and if you're a top 3 pick, I'm going to need you to put this ball right here versus I'm going to have to coach you up for a year or two. And I'm like, that's not how that works. Either you draft a guy at 100 or number 1. Either way, until he plays, that ball's only going to go where he throws it. So I'm not really sure how, just because you pick a guy at number 3, the expectation has to be up there because you have to coach him there. I thought that was kind of the whole point, but it was so funny. Like, well, he's a number 3 pick. He's got to do this immediately. It's like, that's
the fact it used to be that way. The old school thought was that if you took a player in the top 10 or so, that player better be ready to step in and contribute.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't think the NFL is that way at all anymore. You can bring in a player and have him sit and learn, not even just a quarterback. I mean, we've seen Minnesota. They sat Justin Jefferson for, 2 weeks? 3 weeks? Yeah. Well, he got things figured out, and when he was ready to roll, Minnesota put him on the field, and boy, did they get results, huh?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I guess my point to that for Kyle the other day was just because you draft someone, because I don't want to say overdraft, but I will for the sentence. Just because you overdraft or you draft someone really high and like give up stock, that doesn't automatically mean that they're going to throw the ball perfectly just because you draft them there, I guess is my point. I just thought that was really funny. I drafted you number 3 overall, and you have to be this way. It's like,
and I guess it's really difficult. It's really difficult to rank quarterbacks who haven't taken a snap in the NFL at all. We haven't seen them do anything yet. So you're just going on potential.
I like that part of it because if he's right, it makes him look really good. But I totally get that too. Is how in the world can you say that Trey Lance is better than Case Keenum? Case Keenum took a team to the NFC Championship game. This kid hasn't thrown a snap. But it's also the same in the same breath, agreeing with him. I absolutely know that Trevor Lawrence is better than Case Keenum right now. Like, I know that. I don't think he'll be able to run a team the very first game efficiently like that, but his talent and all that, it's way above him. But I just thought it was funny that it's like, well, I drafted you number 3. You have to be perfect. It's like, dude.
Actually, there was something interesting that I wanted to add on to that. Sure. Because although quarterback is the most important position in football, it's the most highlighted, it's the most celebrated, all of that. I think that it probably takes the least amount of, I don't want to say talent or ability, but there isn't a ton of transaction other than game speed to transition from being a college quarterback to a pro quarterback, unless you're coming from a college set where it's, run first and all that. If you play a pro style offense in college, it should translate very well over to playing in the NFL. It shouldn't take much at all. And then you look at the rules in the NFL and how much it changes to where if you're trying to be a cornerback in the NFL, good luck. It's a completely different game.
Yeah.
Receivers have to, 1 foot in bounds, 2 foot in bounds. They have to make adjustments.
Movements on the line, all that kind of stuff. It's a big difference. It is.
Who was I listening to? I was listening to some former player who was talking about, I was so fast in college. Fastest guy on the field in college. And when I got to the NFL, he picked up a fumble. It was a defensive guy. Picked up a fumble or a loose ball or something and was like, I'm the fastest guy on the field. Holy shit, there's an offensive lineman right beside me. It's like all of a sudden everyone is almost as fast as I am. And it's like that was his welcome to the NFL holy shit moment of these are grown-ass men who are athletes with a capital A out there. It's like you're not just the fastest guy anymore. So I totally get your point there, Adam.
I think
so. All the fans that are out there pounding the table wanting these running quarterbacks, you're really putting a big question mark on drafting them because they're not coming from the pro style offense. And Minnesota has to kind of wonder and say, hey, are these players going to transition well over a pro style offense?
Mm-hmm.
Well, they can look at players like Trevor Lawrence and they can see exactly kind of what they're getting.
Yep.
You know what you're getting in him. There's not a lot of question marks surrounding what he can do on the football field because he did it.
Mm-hmm.
Well, that to echo on, that's what I was going to say is kind of what you're not saying that, and I know this, I just want to put in a different maybe way to say it. Not that what you said was bad or anything, but Adam's not saying that playing quarterback isn't hard or valuable. But I think with the way the NFL is now versus how it was in 2001, just 20 years to say it's so centric for a quarterback in passing that transition isn't as hard as it used to be. And with how offensively centric that especially college offenses are, good Lord, a lot of that's trickling into the league and has been slowly sliding its foot and then knee and then whole left leg and now half its body into the NFL. That's what it's going to become. So I think if you correct me if I'm wrong, but I think that's what you were saying. And I get it. And especially with that's the point I was making with Trevor Lawrence. I know what that dude's going to be because he ran a halfway pro team in college. I mean, half of their starters are pro players anyways. And
absolutely.
I get that. So I can see the value of him being more than Case. And I love Case. I love that dude to death. I think he's awesome all the way around. But yeah, his ceiling is just stupid high, and he's been playing at that level forever.
You're also seeing teams smarten up a little bit and not trying to fit, the proverbial square peg into the round hole. And they're saying, okay, Ravens are saying, okay, we drafted Lamar Jackson. We're going to cater an offense to Lamar Jackson instead of kind of the RG3 situation where it's like, we're going to try to make him Peyton Manning. Well, that wasn't RG3's skill set.
Right.
That's a good
But you
point.
also don't want to draft a quarterback you feel is a lesser quarterback because they fit what you do or what you want to do.
Yeah.
Like I know Mond is a bit more of a quarterback that likes to use his feet a little bit more than Kirk Cousins does, or at least he was in college. Now, does Minnesota kind of want to adjust that so that they can do more run play options with Dalvin Cook? Not really, because they love what Dalvin Cook is able to do and what he does. So it gets so tough whether you want to have a vision for your offense and find players to fit that offense, or whether you want to find players to create an offense. For that, that's a lot of burden on the coaching staff. I don't envy coaches one bit, the GMs, because those kind of decisions are the ones that forge a franchise for many, many years
and get people fired.
Absolutely.
I first thing I think of in the success and molding around, like Kyle, as soon as you said that, I thought of Lamar Jackson instantly. They're like, this is the new NFL. They made an MVP out of him, and now they keep doing kind of what Aaron Rodgers wants. Is they got a receiver last year. I know they have Hollywood Brown. They just went and got Bateman from Minnesota. They're going to give him pieces now and be like, hey, dude, we know how special you are. Here's another toy. Here's another accessory on the weapon that you are to just make you more enhanced.
And it was last year in Baltimore that was it last year that their passing offense was an absolute joke.
Yeah. No, I don't know if it was last year or the year before, but I know they did win a playoff game finally and got that under their belt, so they did make improvements.
Because, the Ravens had just a absolutely terrible passing offense. So I don't remember if it was last year or the year before, but it was just disgusting.
But to the flip side of that, we're talking about essentially a success story here. The Vikings would love an MVP quarterback and a playoff win, and they don't have either one of those currently. Maybe they will this year. We'll see if it's one of those two or both. But to the flip side, all about fit and potential. You look at the Bears drafted Mitch Trubisky. What the hell were you thinking there? Did you really think that guy was going to elevate? And I think that a more point to the draft, and we'll kind of round this podcast out. But if you're going to take the guy, the number 2 player overall in the draft, with all the people you passed up from that year, especially Watson and Mahomes, God, I don't know how those guys didn't get fired for that. That's beyond me. I don't know. I'm with you, Adam. I guess my point to that would be to piggyback and say I don't want to be a GM or a coach because seems super delicate. It's like trying to balance things on a unicycle, and maybe you can hold it steady for a little while, but one thing goes bad and the rest just crumble. I think right now the standard in the NFL for drafting and GMing and all that and coaching is Kansas City, and I hate to say it, but at Buffalo has turned that team around stupid good, going out and getting free agents, saying, hey, look, this is our dude. We're going to make him better. We're going to make all the pieces better. I like it. I like what they're doing. That's the way you do it.
Yeah, Minnesota, I feel like they're building fairly well for the future. I don't like that there's so many players from Minnesota that are getting older that maybe they'll have to move on from soon. I hate the idea of moving on from a player like Harrison Smith, but that's a conversation that's going to happen pretty soon.
Yep.
And that makes me sad.
You hate to say it too, but even like the Adam Thielen conversation is going to be happening in a couple seasons.
Yeah. In a couple seasons, we're going to have to talk about Eric Kendricks too. We've had these guys we don't realize. Even back when Adrian Peterson was still on the team and running around with Teddy Bridgewater, he was a big part of the team. They're only getting older. And I think the fear that Adam is sharing is there's going to be good players, but are they going to match that guy?
To loop this conversation back, sorry to interrupt, to loop it back to Minnesota, to get a Vikings spin back here on our Vikings podcast. I think that's why we Minnesota fans, Minnesota organization even, fall into this trap of, well, we're rebuilding, we're putting the pieces in place, and we're going for the future, blah, 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 blah. And then pretty soon you're having conversations of like, well, Adam Thielen, maybe Harrison Smith, probably a little sooner. Anthony Barr is going to be, you need to throw all your pieces in right now. We need to stop with the, well, we're setting up the chip. Win right the fuck now. With the players we got right. We got Justin Jefferson right now. We got Dalvin Cook right now. Kirk Cousins is competent right now. We need to focus on this and not so much of the chess game for 8 years down the line. Fuck that shit. Contracts don't matter. We make all that shit up. All that shit's made up.
You and I talked about this on the side, and I'm not sure if Adam was in it or not, but it comes for me. You can go so far with players. The coaching is going to have to be elite, and I don't know that we have that in Zimmer. And I love when I say that, guys. Please don't crucify me. God, I love Mike Zimmer to death, but I just don't know offensively he's going to pick the right people to do or make the decisions for that. Because I feel like we know what this team's ceiling is, and I don't think it's a championship team. I think it's close. I think if everything goes right, we saw that, but I don't know. For what you're saying right there, I feel like, yes, I want you to win now once you get all these pieces. Well, look at the roster. The roster isn't terrible. The roster overall is like, I would say 75% awesome. But I wonder who's going to move them around and coach them into outsmarting a team every week, because – players only go so far.
Looking at this roster and the staff, I don't know if they could beat Tampa Bay in the NFC Finals, and I don't. Then Kansas City in the Super Bowl. That'd be such a lofty thing for the team to do.
It'd be the most Vikings thing ever.
Here's what it was, and you guys tell me if I'm wrong. The Vikings would have to play out of their freaking minds for 4 games straight in a row. And I don't think that that's beyond them, but the percentages of them doing that consecutively on a higher stage every week are pretty slim to none. I think any game of the week could be like last year when we go into Green Bay and run the hell over them. And then I think on the flip side of that, it could be like the first year we got Kirk Cousins, where Buffalo comes in with a rookie quarterback and beats the absolute dog shit out of us. And we're like, you weren't supposed to lose. You were 18-point favorites. What did you do? I don't see the consistency there. I think they would have to play and be coached perfectly. And I for that answer right now, I don't really have it. But that hurts me to say because I love Zimmer. I love him to death. I love the attitude and the whole aura that he brings to the team, but haven't been proved right yet. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I think that's a deep conversation for next week.
Oh, yeah. Sorry to be somber, guys. I'll round out the show and we'll end it on this. We talked about 2021 OTAs. Don't freak out when you get on the internet and you get on the Viking Age or Twitter or wherever and you're like, oh, my God, Dakota Dozier is starting over Wyatt Davis. Yeah, because he's a rookie. Relax. If Rashad Hill starts at left tackle in OTAs, don't poop your pants.
No, it means we're cutting Christian Darrisaw. And then he's a bust. And it is Rashad Hill.
It's the Rashad Hill train, baby.
Rashad Hill show at left tackle for Minnesota. Welcome.
It happened last year. I don't know how, and I'm not saying people and fans of this show in particular. I don't know how Vikings Twitter gets on my damn nerves so much.
Every year the veterans get the nod on the early depth chart. Every year.
Yeah. Adam, you're a math guy. What percentage you put on Christian being the starter at left tackle?
Right now, 0.
No, week 1.
Oh. I want to say 69 to be funny, but that's not right.
Nice.
But barring some sort of freak thing, I mean, it's got to be 95.
Yeah.
98. I mean, barring just the absolute disaster. That
lightning hitting him or something.
Yeah.
But people get up and about like, don't understand why. And it's like, dude, a year ago, Justin Jefferson was taking reps for the second team. How? Just wait a couple of days. I don't know. Oh God,
it's America, damn it. We don't wait.
No, you're right. Well, that too, and everybody that's on Vikings Twitter has all the right answers. That we just haven't done it yet. So that whole thing.
Oh, what a show!
Yeah, to go
Vikings Twitter, they get so stuck on what they want that they forget what's best for the team. The number of people that are just mad that the Vikings didn't go get Justin Fields. It's like, okay. I get it. You got your man crush your quarterback. They didn't go get him. Boo-hoo, move on.
Well, on top of that, just to dabble into it, because we can talk about that all day, I like Justin Fields. Would I have been stoked if the Vikings have gotten him? Absolutely. Do I want Kirk Cousins to get paid $30 million to not play and we take the tab for it? No. That's stupid. How do you not understand what fully guaranteed means? It's like trying to force your kids when you're at home and you bought $150 worth of groceries and they're like, but I want to go to Pizza Hut. And it's like, bitch, get in there and make some cereal. We are eating the cereal until it's all gone.
I don't understand the guaranteed part. Can you explain the guaranteed part?
The only way that happens is if a Russell Wilson situation comes in where it's like, oh no, he's the starter. Oh shit, he's going to win us some games. Oh shit, he might be the MVP. Then you'd be like, well, I'll be damned. They drafted the MVP of the league and they got up to get him. And this is arguably one of the best draft picks the Vikings have ever made. Damn. What are the chances of that happening? Probably not fully guaranteed. I don't know. I could go on for days about that. That's cool though. We'll see how that pans out. Don't freak out when certain guys aren't starting the very first time they get together. It's just organized team activities. Relax.
A lot of time before
the
team takes the field for week 1. A lot of things are going to happen before then. I believe so, yeah.
We still have a full 3 months until that's here, so there's going to be.
We got lots of time to talk about fantasy football, which is I know something that Mr. West is excited about.
Mm-hmm.
He loves
mock draft season.
Yeah, you love fantasy football season about as much as mock draft season.
I came around to fantasy football. Fantasy football is actually, I don't play it, but it's fun. Like
okay.
That's fun to watch.
I like it when I win. I don't like it. I don't like it when the Jaguars get their one and only win of last year, the first week that I do our thing here in the show. That really pisses me off. It just starts my season out with a loss, and that gets on my nerves. I like it when my fantasy team is dominant, like when I draft Cam Newton the year that he's an MVP. I like that a lot.
I love when we do the survival league and everyone that's playing picks the Vikings week 1 because we're all Vikings fans, and they lose, and like everyone immediately gets a loss.
Spoiler alert. If you do the survival league this year, guys, and you're going to pick the Vikings 1 week, do it when we're at home against Detroit. That's when you pick the Vikings. That's the only one.
That's a good choice.
That's a solid, safe pick. Don't go in picking the Colts to beat the Jaguars because you're like, I don't even know who the Jaguars quarterback is. I'm going to pick them week 1 because they suck and they end up winning. I could have lit something on fire. I was so mad that day. I was like, I'm not that bad at this. Last year was weird, though. I lost very, very early. So
last year don't count.
It's always a lot of fun, though. Once again, I do want to thank everyone for hanging out in the chat. Really do appreciate those of you who hung out, especially this long, through an extra half an hour rambling when we thought we were going to get done a half an hour ago. So
please tell us why you're still here if you are. We want to know. Don't you have anything better to do? Because we don't. That's why we're still here.
I'm going to jump in. I'm going to cut Adam off just for a second because I was thinking of doing this anyways. But promote this YouTube channel on my personal Facebook page and on the Vikings, the Purple Podcast Facebook page. I want to get to 1,000 subscribers before we get to the start of the season, and we're almost at 600.
Whoa.
So I'm going to start a giveaway here soon.
That's a heavy goal, man.
It is a heavy goal, but you know what? I want to see this place expand organically through the help of people who listen, because guys like Fire Breather and Cliff Tang, he sent me a friend request the other day, and Arlene Adkins, Michael Cambria is always here. Like Nick, you showed up today too. I appreciate that. And we got new people. I don't think I've seen Derek on here before.
Clint Fredrickson listens to us once in a while. Good friend of mine. Rick Jacobson is a really good friend of mine from down in as a Vikings fan, and he's a really good guy. And I've met a lot of really cool people, not only through this podcast, but by networking a little bit through Vikings training camp and Vikings signing events. And it's fantastic what a really good Vikings community can do, and that's what we want here.
I'm going to do a giveaway, and I'm going to build it up for maybe I'll do 1 or 2. I'm not going to pay your rent or anything, but I'll buy you a Purple People Podcast shirt. I'll try to send you something cool from there, and that just as a promotion here, we get it off of this site here that I have featured on the screen from our own Kyle West. I'll get you a hoodie or a shirt, whatever you want for the season, if you can promote it and show me that you've gotten people to subscribe. I'm not even going to tell you to tell people to hit that little notification bell. I just want to see that number of subscribers hit 1K, because I know we can, and we built it up a little bit. And I had some of my friends do it today. They're not Viking fans. Whatever. Just support your friends. Like we have down here below. Go buy Kyle West's photography stuff. He's got great prints for you to hang up on your wall, or if you're a Purple People Pod nerd, you can get stuff on a t-shirt, tank top, sweater, whatever. You can get a mouse pad with it, a phone case, whatever. He's got a lot of cool stuff there.
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah. Lots of good stuff. You can check out my work.
A new batch of photos too, right?
Yeah, I've been adding some new stuff today. So check out. I got some new stuff up there.
Very nice.
And if you don't feel like buying anything, this is absolutely free of charge. You should go to thevikingage.com, that first little thing I have down here. That's where our own Adam Carlson writes. Nice background, by the way. I just saw that you changed it.
Oh, yeah. I got lots of stuff to swap over. This is going to be fun.
That's
throughout
awesome.
the year, just switching up backgrounds and having fun. But yeah, you can check out my work over on the Viking Age. I write over there once in a while, put out some pretty decent content. It's a really good team. Give the Viking Age a follow, and you can check out a lot of that work. Over on Twitch, I've been streaming a little bit more often. I played some Fall Guys. MN Viking Zombie over there, which is the same as all my socials. So you can hit me up, and I will send out a notification on Twitter when I go live. Otherwise, you can hit that bell and follow on Twitch. and you can get a notification sent directly to your mobile device when I go live. I only write once or twice a month or so over on Undead Walking, but it's a really good time to kind of be getting back into the undead drama, with Fear the Walking Dead doing very well. The Walking Dead hitting its stride again with it's in the off season right now, but it's filming, getting ready. World Beyond is teasing that they're going to be dropping some teases about the upcoming Rick Grimes movies in their newer season. So that's got a lot of people excited. And honestly, who doesn't love zombie stuff? I mean, I even watched that new War of the Dead over on Netflix. What is it?
Yeah, we
Army
can
of
do
the
it.
Dead?
We could do another hour and a half about that one, Adam, because I liked it, but I was a little disappointed.
I asked you, I said, do you want to go on my Twitch and start doing some movie reviews? And you never got back to me, so
I apparently forgot to get back to you, but we should do that. We should do that.
I'm not going to force myself into that, but I'll if you ever want to, that would be fun. I would definitely be in that, especially for the amount of movies that I watch, even though we don't watch the same things. That sounds like a dope time.
Well, that's something to work out for another time.
Okay.
But yeah, I do want to thank everyone that checks out my work over there. Go check out Kyle's art. Spam Mr. Smith and let him know that you want him to do some music on Twitch and that you want to subscribe to him there, because he really does need to do that. I mean, they just added some new categories on Twitch. You can play your music in a hot tub.
Wow.
You can do that if you want.
I wonder if people will buy me a hot tub. That'd be fun. You know what's crazy too? I have all this cleared out. I just casually asked for people to buy me a hot tub like an asshole. I just bought this camera too. Found a good deal online.
It's 4K. I see 4K on it.
Well, it's cheap. It's on Amazon, but this is specifically for shooting better quality music videos. So
you gonna go hunting Bigfoot? What the hell are you gonna do with that camera? I'm
gonna run around and just ask people dumb questions. I don't know.
No, I'm going on the street. That's awesome.
I'm gonna film right here and do some music stuff. So
yeah, you should.
I will definitely try that. Yeah,
I've been trying to get him to do that for a while, so fingers crossed we can get that to happen. But we'll be back again. As we've said before, our schedules during the off season aren't as strict as they are during the regular season. Sometimes, if bigger news happens, we'll go and do another show within 5-6 days. If there's a lull in the news, we'll wait 10 days or so. But overall, we will be back with more Vikings-related news soon, and we will set up shows and set up schedules. So follow us over on the Facebook page, and you'll get a notification when we set up a show. So that's the best way to know in advance, at least a couple hours in advance when we're going live. Thanks again to everyone, especially the Kyles, who are both available to come on here with me tonight. And it's always nice when we can get all three of us together, and it's even better when we can get more people together in the live chat to hang out with us. So please come on, hang out next time, and stay classy, Minnesota.